Have you ever wondered why so many homeless individuals in America turn to drugs even when they have so much to lose? It's a troubling question, but it's one that deserves our attention. As homelessness continues to rise, more and more people are trapped in a dangerous cycle of addiction. But what makes someone so vulnerable to this cycle when they're already living on the streets with little to no support? In this video, we'll uncover the hidden link between homelessness and substance abuse and explore the shocking factors that make addiction so easy to fall into. Stay tuned as we reveal how these two issues feed off each other and what needs to change to finally break the cycle. Homelessness in America has reached a critical point. In 2024, over 771,000 individuals experienced homelessness on any given night, according to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. This staggering figure raises an important question. Why are so many Americans unable to find stable housing? While housing affordability is a major factor, it's not the only one. Economic pressures, mental health struggles, and even the treatment of veterans all contribute to the growing problem.
The rent is too high. It's even going up in even these rooming houses. And, people are using drugs to escape. And the drug use is making you come out here more. You don't pay your rent. You're not working enough. And that's part of, contributing to the problem.
The crisis isn't confined to major cities like Los Angeles, New York, and San Francisco. Smaller cities and rural areas are also grappling with rising homelessness rates. In fact, the issue has spread far beyond the urban areas typically associated with visible homelessness. Many of us may overlook the scale of this problem, but the reality is undeniable. More people are living without homes. And increasingly, homelessness is linked with substance abuse. The root causes of homelessness are complex and multifaceted. The lack of affordable housing, rising rent costs, and stagnant wages have made it nearly impossible for many to keep up with the cost of living. At the same time, a significant portion of the homeless population is made up of individuals battling mental health conditions such as depression, schizophrenia, and PTSD.
I have really bad PTSD because my whole life I've been raped and abused and used. And I feel like that's a lot of our stories, but that's just, I have really bad flashbacks and nightmares. So when I get high, it kind of just stops.
These conditions, compounded by inadequate healthcare and support, make it difficult for them to maintain stable housing. Additionally, veterans, many of whom suffer from PTSD, are disproportionately represented in homeless statistics, highlighting the failure to provide adequate care for those who have served the country. This crisis is growing, and it affects more than just the homeless individuals themselves. It has far-reaching consequences for communities, impacting healthcare safety and the economy. But how does this growing homelessness relate to another pressing issue, substance abuse? Let's explore that connection next. It is no secret that homelessness and substance abuse are intimately connected. Research shows that a large proportion of homeless individuals in America use drugs, and this pattern is not accidental. The reasons why those without stable housing are more likely to turn to drugs are numerous and complex. Firstly, living on the streets or in shelters brings constant stress and anxiety. For many, it's the constant threat of violence exposure to harsh weather and the lack of basic necessities like food, water, and medical care that makes the survival a daily struggle. In such a hostile environment, drugs often become a way to escape the overwhelming feelings of fear and pain. For many homeless individuals, drugs offer a brief relief from the stress and trauma they experience every day, even if it's just for a short time. But that relief is temporary, and the cycle of addiction continues.
I had to, my body needed it. Every time I woke up, I was sick. It's like it controls you. You can't function, you can't do anything without it.
Additionally, homelessness brings with it a heavy emotional toll. Feelings of shame, depression, and hopelessness often plague those living without a home. Without the support systems that most people rely on, family, friends, a stable community, many turn to drugs to numb the emotional pain. It's an easy way to shut out the feelings of isolation, worthlessness, and the constant reminder of being invisible to society. In a way, drugs offer a sense of relief and a brief escape from an unforgiving reality. But it doesn't stop there. Homelessness often places individuals in close proximity to the illegal drug trade. In areas with large homeless populations, like Skid Row in Los Angeles, drugs are not only easy to find, but also remarkably easy to obtain. For someone without a permanent address or stable income, purchasing drugs may seem far easier than finding a meal or securing housing. The normalization of substance use in these environments only reinforces the cycle of addiction.
Like, this is where people you only come here either to get money, to get high, and that's it. There's no other option out this place.
It's not just the environment pushing homeless individuals toward drugs, it's also the lack of access to treatment and healthcare. Without the proper support systems or rehabilitation services, many remain trapped in their addiction. This lack of access to necessary services makes it even harder to break free from the grip of substance abuse, further deteriorating their physical and mental health.
Yeah, I never used to do it. I don't know when it started, but I'll throw up. And if I don't have enough dopamine, I take a hit.
What if we could offer homeless individuals more than just shelter? What if we could provide the support they truly need to heal and rebuild their lives? Is it possible to break this vicious cycle of homelessness and addiction? Let us know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights into this pressing issue. Understanding why homeless people are more likely to access and use drugs requires a deeper look into the structural factors that make drugs so easily accessible and so tempting for those living without stable housing. First, let's consider the financial aspect. For individuals without a stable income or permanent address, purchasing drugs may seem far less daunting than finding food or shelter. The cost of a meal or a night's stay in a shelter can often outweigh the cost of a dose of heroin or methamphetamine. In many cases, drugs become a way of life simply because they are easier to obtain than basic needs such as food or shelter. Could the lack of access to basic necessities push someone to make the heartbreaking choice to prioritize drugs over survival? This issue is further compounded by the fact that drugs like methamphetamine and heroin are often sold at very low prices in communities with large homeless populations. The demand for such substances is high, and dealers know they can make a profit from the homeless community. In many major cities, drug use is so normalized within homeless communities that it becomes part of daily life. But does the normalization of drug use make it harder for homeless individuals to resist, especially when it's a constant part of their environment? The ease of access to drugs creates a dangerous environment for those already vulnerable to addiction. But perhaps even more alarming is the emotional and psychological toll that homelessness takes on individuals. As mentioned earlier, homelessness often leads to depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues. In such circumstances, drugs become a way to self-medicate. The temporary relief that drugs provide offers an escape from the pain, fear, and anxiety that come with being homeless. At the same time, being homeless means lacking the protective structures that most of us take for granted. Without family, friends, or access to mental health care, homeless individuals are often left to fend for themselves. The absence of supportive relationships and social networks can make it all the more difficult to break free from the cycle of addiction. Furthermore, the social stigma attached to both homelessness and drug addiction often prevents individuals from seeking help. Homeless people are frequently seen as invisible or as people who are undeserving of help. This societal neglect, coupled with the criminalization of drug use, makes it even harder for homeless individuals to access the services they need to recover from addiction. How can we expect people to break free from this cycle if the systems in place are so overwhelmingly stacked against them? The connection between substance abuse and homelessness is more than just a simple correlation. It is a destructive, cyclical relationship that only deepens the struggles of those already living on the streets. For homeless individuals, addiction further complicates their ability to secure stable housing, find employment, or maintain any sense of social connection. Substance abuse magnifies both physical and mental health challenges, pushing those already vulnerable into even greater instability and isolation. One of the most immediate consequences of substance abuse in the homeless population is the severe toll it takes on physical health. Drugs like heroin, methamphetamine, and fentanyl lead to life-threatening conditions such as overdoses, infections from unsanitary needle use, and the spread of communicable diseases like HIV and hepatitis. These issues not only make it difficult for homeless individuals to carry out day-to-day activities, but also prevent them from accessing necessary medical care. Many homeless shelters are already overwhelmed and under-resourced, lacking sufficient medical staff to handle the health problems resulting from substance abuse. Without proper care, the cycle of health deterioration continues, worsening both their physical and mental well-being. But how can individuals begin to heal when their bodies are so ravaged by addiction and neglect? This question highlights the complex barriers that prevent the homeless in America from breaking free from this vicious cycle. Beyond physical harm, substance abuse exacerbates mental health conditions like depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Many homeless individuals suffer from these underlying issues, and the use of drugs becomes a temporary escape from their painful reality. However, this escape only reinforces feelings of hopelessness, isolation, and despair, making it even more challenging to regain control of their lives. In addition to the emotional toll, substance abuse severely hinders an individual's ability to reintegrate into society. Addiction makes it nearly impossible to maintain consistent work or develop the skills needed to regain independence, right? Without stable housing or a consistent income, the prospects of long-term recovery are slim. The social isolation created by homelessness and addiction makes it even harder for individuals to break free. So, what happens when an individual is trapped not only by addiction, but also by the social stigma of being homeless? This dynamic contributes to a never-ending loop where homelessness feeds addiction and addiction reinforces homelessness. The criminalization of homelessness and drug use further complicates this issue. Many homeless individuals are arrested for minor offenses related to drug use, and criminal records make it even harder for them to access housing programs, job opportunities, or other forms of support. How can someone rebuild their life if society continues to label them as a criminal? The situation is a reflection of deeper systemic issues, including a lack of affordable housing, insufficient mental health care, and the broader criminalization of poverty. As the supply of drugs like fentanyl and methamphetamine grows within homeless communities, the crisis worsens. What's clear is that homelessness and substance abuse cannot be addressed in isolation. Both must be tackled together to create lasting change. The issue of homelessness and substance abuse in America requires an integrated, multi-pronged approach to ensure that the root causes are addressed. While the federal government has made some strides in tackling homelessness, there is still much more to be done to create long-term solutions. Several programs and policies have been introduced to provide shelter, healthcare, and rehabilitation, but they remain insufficient in addressing the full scope of the problem. One of the most significant steps in addressing homelessness in America has been the introduction of Housing First programs. Housing First is an approach that prioritizes providing permanent housing to homeless individuals before addressing other issues like addiction or mental health problems. This approach recognizes that having stable housing is essential for recovery, and once individuals have a roof over their heads, they are more likely to engage in treatment programs and rebuild their lives. Studies have shown that Housing First programs can significantly reduce homelessness and help individuals maintain sobriety as it provides the stability necessary for healing. However, Housing First is not a panacea. Many homeless individuals also require comprehensive mental health care and addiction treatment to address the underlying causes of their homelessness. To that end, more programs need to integrate mental health and addiction services alongside housing support. Cities like Los Angeles and Seattle have started to implement programs that provide housing therapy and substance abuse treatment together. These integrated services have proven to be effective in breaking the cycle of homelessness and addiction, but they remain underfunded and unavailable to many who need them. There is also a need for greater investment in community-based rehabilitation programs. While emergency shelters are essential, they are not designed to be long-term solutions. Rehabilitation centers, which focus on treating addiction and providing social support, can play a crucial role in helping homeless individuals recover. However, these programs are often overcrowded, underfunded, and lacking in the necessary resources to treat the complex needs of homeless individuals. Expanding these programs and making them accessible to homeless individuals can help ensure that they receive the help they need to break free from addiction and homelessness. One promising model of rehabilitation is the use of harm reduction strategies. Harm reduction programs focus on reducing the negative consequences of substance use, such as overdose deaths, without requiring individuals to immediately stop using drugs. These programs offer services like supervised injection sites, needle exchange programs, and access to naloxone, a medication that can reverse opioid overdoses. While controversial in some circles, harm reduction strategies have been shown to save lives and help individuals gradually transition into treatment programs. In the context of homelessness, harm reduction offers a pragmatic and compassionate approach that acknowledges the realities of addiction while providing the necessary support to those who are most vulnerable. Ultimately, the key to solving the twin crises of homelessness and substance abuse is to treat them as interconnected problems rather than isolated issues. Comprehensive policies must be implemented at both the federal and local levels, providing not just housing but also mental health care, addiction, treatment, job training, and social support. The solutions must also be tailored to the specific needs of individuals, acknowledging that everyone's path to recovery is different. I've had the opportunity to travel across nearly every corner of America, and everywhere I go, I see the same heartbreaking issue: homelessness. From the bustling streets of New York City to the quiet corners of rural towns, the problem is pervasive, and it's clear to me that homelessness and addiction are two sides of the same coin. It's not just a matter of a lack of housing or drug use on its own. These issues are deeply interconnected, and we can't continue to treat them as separate problems. I've witnessed firsthand how these issues compound one another, creating a cycle that is incredibly difficult to break. The answer is clear. We must adopt a more holistic approach. We need solutions that address housing, mental health care, and addiction all at once. I've met so many individuals who, if given the right support, whether that's a safe place to live, access to health care, or addiction treatment, would have a much better chance at recovery. Without these critical resources, many homeless individuals are left to fend for themselves, spiraling further into addiction as they try to cope with the harsh realities of their lives. Can we as a society do more to prevent homelessness before it even begins? And if we can provide comprehensive support, could we see a reduction in substance abuse among the homeless population? These are questions we need to answer, not just as policymakers, but as a society. If we truly want to make a difference, we need to look at the issue in its entirety and act with compassion and urgency. Conclusion. In conclusion, the relationship between homelessness and substance abuse is a deeply entrenched issue in America that cannot be solved with quick fixes. The struggles of the homeless in America are complex and multifaceted, and addressing them requires a comprehensive, compassionate approach that integrates housing, mental health care, and addiction treatment. We must invest in long-term solutions, including the expansion of Housing First programs, comprehensive rehabilitation services, and harm reduction strategies. Only then can we hope to break the cycle of addiction and homelessness, offering individuals the chance to reclaim their lives and rebuild their futures. The time for action is now.